Last time we did simple application implementation on iOS. Those who do not have iOS available because you do not have Mac operating systems, then I want you to install VMware or VirtualBox first at your Windows on your Windows systems, and then you can install the guest operating systems iOS. I think you can. The best way is that you can buy it, but I cannot tell you unless otherwise. I know some students would do. But anyway, if you purchase iOS, the current version, and install it on your virtual machine, after that you have to install also Xcode. That is free from Apple. As far as you register, I think registration should be done right before you download, and then you can download and install. That is simple and straightforward as far as you have iOS 10 or higher or a little lower. Doesn't really matter. That's what we've done last lecture. Um, Today we will do another simple applications. Simple means uh, it is a single view. And some graphical applications, graphical components are just drag and drop. So it is ready for you to work. The graphic components that we used the last time was simply label, text field, and button. Label, text field, and button. Label, where you need to display if you want to. Typically in text. Text field is the field that you want to communicate with the user, so user can enter in response to your prompt questions. So user can type some on your text field. And the button is something that you want to trigger some actions. So button is the graphical components that that can handle the user created event. So if user wants give some data to your application and ask your application to cook some for you, then what is the trigger? Trigger is the button. So user can click the button, then that is the time. Then the additional or corresponding actions needs to be taken. That's what we've done last time. If you do not follow well, there are lecture videos available. I don't remember. Video with no audio, right? So full version available. Audio only with no video, that is the thing that I recorded in class, Manhattan. So it is useless. No video but audio only, probably useless, right? So I removed it. And then I made a short lecture. Finally, because I learned Camtasia behaviors on Mac. So I made it. So this time when I do, I'm going to try to repeat something that you may miss because of that um, incomplete recording. What we will do today is uh, not just to use graphical components and lay out them on your uh, cell phone windows. There's another case that you can bring web pages on your cell phone itself. So web page, web. Uh, Remember that in an iPhone, then there is a Safari web browser is available. Similar to that, uh, you can click the Safari on your iPhone hard device, and then you can start a web search from there. But web view here is not just giving you a browser, but it gives you web page itself. How can our application start with a web page? It's not the page that can be downloaded from the web server, but it exists on your device. You could search from there, but it starts from your web page, your local devices. That is a web view. This is another graphical components that you can use. Similarly, we have a map kit. If you want to locate geographically some site by giving geocode, latitude and longitude, altitude. Altitude is not, well, there may be some other apps available, right? Altitude, so that you have different elevations. There may be some of your projects. By the way, I'm going to give you the first homework assignments, simple homework assignments, so that I want you to create a web view on your iPhone applications. The grade that I could do, I cannot grade it because each one has a different system environment. It's very hard to grade, and also it's very hard to submit. You may miss some components, some important files. You do not know which files that you need to submit. If you submit only one file, then of course that is incomplete. No way that I can view yours. So those who are in face-to-face class, I want you to give demo at any time in class. Would be great if you can give me a demo, short demo. I mean, you can prepare all the applications and then give me a 1 minute demo. Then I can quickly see yours. You don't have to explain how you design and what is the code. You don't have to say that, but simply give me a demo. That is the way that I can evaluate your homework assignments. Those who are online, in the same way, you can record your demo and give me a video clip, or you can put it on the YouTube and give me the URL of your YouTube video clip so that I can view your demo. Usually, you don't have to give me, I think, more than 1 minute demo, like this simple homework assignments, first homework assignments. Maybe some other your project, then you can give me maybe a 5 minute demo. If your program needs to go to, for example, database, and if you need to show to me how to create database, how to populate database, and how to retrieve it, and so on and so forth, then you may need. Or some other students, we have one of good students who already started whole projects. from your iPhone apps, the Android sensors sit on Android, not Android, I'm sorry, Arduino. So sensors are plugged in your Arduino Uno, and Arduino Uno communicate with your iPhone. I'm going to explain that when it comes to that issue. Basically, there are three ways of communication. The easiest way that you could do is if you buy Wi-Fi Arduino, then it sets Wi-Fi already. So your iPhone, smartphone apps simply connected to the Wi-Fi and control the sensors. That is possible too. I mean, that type of demonstration may take longer than a simple homework demo. So we are now talking about homework demos. Another simple view to be implemented on your iPhone app is image picker controller. Your iPhone has images, photos already available. How can you bring that up your iPhone? Okay. There are a lot more. For example, how can you activate a camera? Of course, if you buy an iPhone device, then it's already there, so you can click camera and take a picture. Not only that, in your application, somewhere in your application layout, you can put your camera and then you can manipulate your camera on the way that you want to design. Because all the controls, all the logics on your own iPhone apps are designed by you, so you could do whatever you want to do, and therefore you may, once you know how to implement iPhone apps, not only iPhone apps, but Android as well. Android is even worse in security reasons. You may know, as a designer, as an implementer, you can do whatever you want to do. That is the reason you have to be very careful when you download some apps. You have to be aware of the credibility of the provider. That application may read all secret data from your device and send it to their server. You do not notice. If you want to notice, then you have to create your own application program, and then you have to control all the outgoing messages. There's a place that we are here, although we don't do that, we do not have enough time to do that, right? Because this course is a combination between iPhone apps and sensor networks. So more likely, this course gives you an idea. There is some security holes, so that I wanted to find out, oh, I need to build something to protect my iPhone devices. Okay, anyway, those three will be done. And then first we will look at web view. Okay, here web view. Okay, web view. To do that, we need to have we need to give a URL on our apps. So when that application is activated, then simply gives you a web page. It's not something that you have to type your www.apple.com, but simply it gives you by default. Oh, this is your uh, first view of your applications. You can simply give that, or you can type HTML on your application, so you can show your own web pages. It's not really web server that you run outside, but your application, if it is turned on, then automatically gives you your web page. I can give you my demo that I did. Or you can make full version of HTML files. Even more, you can give them some photos so that you can show your pictures as well. That's what I'm going to do today for the demo. So if you do not have any experience, what you need to do is, once you install your Xcode, then even those who do not know this, simply, I'm going to, that is the terminal. Simply, this is PowerPoint slides. At the bottom, I have so many applications up and running. There is a Finder, right? Finder. I know this is very boring to Chris. I'm not better than you, Chris, in terms of apps. I mean, MacBook. I'm new, MacBook. I've used to run on my MacBook when I was in the previous institution. That institution gives you either Mac or Solaris. So I have a Solaris on my desk and Mac for my portable. And they also provide the computer at home. So school provides 3 computers. But anyway, the application, I have 2 versions. You don't need to. You may have more than 2 versions. That's okay. So click one of those, Xcode beta version. That's what I am using. But each one, not necessarily, right? You can use the robust version. But to me, I just test if beta version usually there's no bug, but they want to make sure before they release it as one of a regular version. So 99% is good. Only 1% maybe no good. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to give you a demo first. Here is my web view. The right hand side of this, there are multiple applications on package and the project that you built. So this is my web view. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. And I'm going to give you a demo first. Usually you will have here main.storyboard. Then you will have iPhone screen, right? So you have button, you have a battery, and something else. You can reduce this a little bit by controlling your touchpad. If you have multiple views available, that's what we will do. Maybe next 2 weeks or after that, you probably need more views. So first view is the first window, first screen that you can see. So there may be some button. If you click, then another screen comes up, and there's some other activities going on, and then there is another click, then another screen comes up, or another data, right? So you might have multiple of those views. Right now we have one view. If you have more than one, then this window is not enough. It's not spacious, so that you can reduce, right? Or at any moment, if you want to make it to the normal size, then double click and then bring that up here. This is the right size. If you want to if you want to set the size, then bottom here there is a whatever that is. If you click this, then you can see some of the sizes. Then you can initially set. Right now I use this, right? Slim size. So this is that. Supposedly you've done all the coding. So now demo activates and run. How can you run it? And on top of that screen, I'm going to minimize this. Yeah, this is the screen. On top there is some menus. This is run. This is a close your execution. This tells you the project. Right now I have my web view projects, and followed by the version of your device. iPhone 6s, that is the current version that I am working with, but you can choose a different version if you want. Okay, iPad 2 if you want, but no one wants to work on iPad 2. Maybe 6s, okay, 6s plus. This is the recent version, right? After this semester, but if you still continue to work on this, then maybe in the fall or next year, there may be a new version, new iPhone devices. Then this Xcode is outdated. Then you need to install the new Xcode. Therefore, you will have new iPhone devices here. And another up here, let me explain this upper right corner. There are 3 icons available. They're all toggle mode, which can be on and off, on and off. The left and right, those 2 icons are on. If I click this, then, oh, by the way, I have here basically 3 panes. So left pane is called the navigation pane, so that you can see all the structures of your project. Project name is My Web View, and then there is a folder that contains all the coding files. Many of them are Swift, some of them HTML, some of them JPEG. Those HTML and JPEG are not available by default, but for this project I added it, so you will have that also. As I said, this is a web view apps, so that you can run this as if this is your web page. Okay. This is a navigation pane, and we have here the view pane coding. So you can see the view, and also you can see some of the Swift code. This is a Swift coding list. This is similar to your C programs, but this is a lot easier than C. This is an extended version of C. If you implement this in real C or Objective-C, it's a longer list. Right now, if you see here navigation pane, there is no C files. Oh, good, right? But as you implement more sophisticated apps, then you may have more C codings included. Don't be scared. Most cases, you do not need to implement. You simply include it by clicking some here.
So Swift is a sort of scaled down code to the C language?
Right, is easy. This is a like Python, for example. Those who learned Python previously, this is very similar to Python. Simple and easy and fast to implement. Most of the simple applications can be implemented in Swift. But if you want to do communicating with some of the external resources, then it's not yet implemented in Swift language. Therefore, maybe this is a transient phase. Therefore, you need to include C programs. When you include the C programs, then there's a header files and C files and some other files. A bunch of files are loaded here. And those files are used, controlled, managed in your Swift. Much simpler, right? And right-hand side, this is called the utility pane. Utility pane. If I click this upper right icon, then utility pane will disappear. Click again, bring it back, disappear, and bring it back. If you have a very complicated coding activities, then you don't need that, right? But many cases, you may need this so that one funny thing is this. They are identical. When you type here some of this, and identical here or there, but if you simply change something on your coding list only, then it will take time until all the effects become effective. All the effects of your coding here should be effective, right? But if you simply drag and drop, therefore utilities and navigations and these codings are directly synchronized, then it is effective immediately. The implication for that is you do not have to try to type. If you can drag and drop, do it. Drag and drop works a lot faster and in full scale. Everything can be done in coding, simply coding. But if you do code, then it takes time. Your this Xcode sometimes do not recognize your correction. I had that issue when I practiced this. So if that happens, then don't be surprised. It happens. So best way in that case is that, okay, I'm going to use this icon programmings, drag and drop, or link by some arrows. Okay. Same thing here. The navigation can be go and come back. And in the middle, if I click this, what? This center pane will disappear? No. If this is disappear, then there is nothing. This gives you some of the standard output on the bottom. So it comes up. If you do something in writing, for example, simply say print, and then I can say, hey, it works, as an example, okay? If you do print simply, then the print statement means that is to print on the standard output. This is a standard output, like your screen in your Python programs. If you do that, and then you can see it on the terminal. This is a terminal. Other than that, if you want to say something, then that is you need to say something on that graphical components. You need to pick the graphical components, for example, web view. Very hard to see, right? Switch so that Oh yeah, that's better. Um, so everything, if you want to say something, then you need to say that here. Say welcome Yoon. This is not really text itself, but uh, this is end result. Whatever up here, that is something that we can practice step by step. So I'm going to give you first of all a demo. So this is the icon that you can start execution. Start so that you have oh, so that you have emulator up. Yeah, right behind. See here, hey, it works. This comes from that print statements. Some others, this is a device. This is a device. This is a device. This is a test. Welcome to John Yoon. See here, this is the battery. This is my cell phone, and I have my picture. This picture comes from here, photo JPEG. This JPEG file. If you want to show the photos on your iPhone apps, then you can store photo here or subdirectory, or you need to specify the path to that image resource.
Dr. Okay. I'm having problems downloading. Maybe to download but not install it. I'll try to fix it tonight. But it's Xcode. Are you building an HTML shell and put it's Xcode?
No, this is one of the simple and easiest demo. I mean, the web is maybe 0.1% of applications. All others, no web views. There are so many other views that you can use. You need to use.
So Xcode is the one that.
Xcode is the editor. This itself is an X. Oh, by the way, to stop this emulation, there's no button here. Minimize and maximize. There's no exit or close button. You have to do it here. Right next to that triangle, there's a square. Once you click this, then this is something else. This is all general. All the apps that I tested so far. One of them is here, my web view. So this has nothing to do with my project here. There's a complete, there's like a pool of the project that you implemented. Gives you some pool. Okay. So that is a demo. So we need to start, okay? Do similar things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this here. Instead, let's do in this way. Let me. Oh, that's okay. Let me close that. Do it again. Finder. The first thing that you need to do is launch Xcode. And I think two classes ago, we did a playground. And now, from last week, we did to create a new Xcode project. So click that new Xcode project. The second from top. Click on that. Okay, then it asks you to choose the first view application. There's many others, but we can start with the single view. Some other cases, if you have multiple views and if you want to organize them in master and slave mode, then you could do this, or some games and some others. But simply, we can do. You can start with this single view application. Starting from the single view application, still you could do have multiple views and multiple others. So it is not really a big issue. So simply we can start with the single view and click next. And this is the time that you need to give the name of the products. So products, I can say my web view. I'm going to simply say, because previously I have my web VIEW, but I'm going to say web V. Okay, just for me, you can do web VIEW. And the organization name and organization identifier, which is yun.com. You can change it at any time. Something that you need to make sure is that the language that you are going to use is Swift. If you are very familiar with the Objective-C, so that if you want to start from the lower level of Swift, then you could choose Objective-C. And then a device, iPhone. Don't click use core data, but others. You don't have to do anything, but by default. And click next. Then it'll ask you where you want to save your applications. See here, right now, iOS apps, that is the directory currently clicked. I'm not sure you can see it, but a little bit of highlighted, right? Can you tell? To me, but it is highlighted. And then there are some other projects that I did already. Is this the place that I want to save mine? If you want to change it, you can click others. If you want to create a new folder, you can create it also, right? Where you can create. You can create it from the Finder. And then on top, there is a menu so that you can create directories, you can create files. Okay, now we can save it. Save that file on this current directory by clicking Create button. Right now, we don't have to do much, but see here in the navigation pane, there is a storyboard, main.storyboard. So click that main.storyboard. And if you, in this editor pane, still split into two. If you do not want another hierarchical indicator, then here the bottom of this, there's a small icon, like the icon that you have upper right corner. Bottom here, there's a small icon. If you click this, then all hide, so you have better. Or bring it back so that you have that. If you click triangle, then you can unfold the structure, right? And then still you can do unfold. I can maximize this. Right now, doesn't look good. If you do not like this, but slim mode, then you can click this and then make it slim like this. This is more iPhone 6 shape. And there is a arrow, right? We can move these arrows back and forth, but right now that is the arrow pointing to this view. Of course, there is only one and only one view, so this pointing to that view. What this arrow does for you is this is the first the screen that you can see from your apps. Okay. You can move this view by clicking, holding down the mouse on the top. This is called some tab, right? Upper tab. If you do that, okay. And then if you click this, then you can see some utilities. View control. If you click this, then some of the view control utilities that you can see. We don't use this for a while. And then bottom, you can see some of the graphical components, right? Those are the graphical components that you need to drag and drop to use. Right now, the graphical components that we want to use is web view. If you do not see web view, then the bottom there is a filter, so click on it and you can type, for example, web. Then there is a web view icon is available by typing web only, right? Click this and drag it over the view. If it covers entire, you'll be perfect. If it is not, then you need to expand it to cover all the way up and expand it to cover all the way down. So make sure that it covers entire. Okay. And then this web view is the view that you want to cover your entire screen. Although you flip, you orient vertically, horizontally in all cases. If you want to make sure that it covers entire screen, then what you need to do is you need to set up some constraints. How can you do that? I want you to hold down control button. I'm not sure the control, how can you do control? Oh, there's a control button, right? Anyway, that's okay on your Windows, right? Holding down the control button, make sure that your mouse is on that web view. Control, holding down, and then move it to all the way to the view and release. Then there are some other constraints that you can set. Before you choose, let me tell you 4 things that you need to choose. There is a equal width and equal height, the second tier, the middle of that. There are 3 compartments, right? In the middle, there's an equal width and equal height. Those 2 needs to be checked. And there are 2 above, center horizontally in container and the center vertically in container. Graphical components in your GUI application, there's always relative relations, container and containment. container and components. So container here in this case is entire screen. So what you want to do is this entire screen contains web view. So what you need to do is that my web view need to be contained horizontally center and vertically on center and fully the same width as the container, same height with the container, which means it covers the entire, right? So let's start with the horizontal center horizontally in container, and then another up here center vertically in container, and one more time all the way up view so that you can see equal width. Another is all the way up here view and then equal height. By this time you may be able to see 3 blots, right? So which means 3 blits are chosen. So one more, equal height. So that I have all those 3 containers. I mean the constraints are assigned to this view. If you unfold this, then you can see all those. Okay. We didn't do anything now up to this point. Now we need to do this is the storyboard, right? Now we need to do some coding. So your coding here is nothing but the Swift view controller.swift. This is the file that can that you need to work on. This is a real program. Coding efforts needs to be done here, and initially gives you skeleton, but you need to do more. You can come back here to edit some, but as I said, rather than you type directly here, if there is something that you could do accidentally, something you could do by drag and drop is better. What I want to do is that we want to have this storyboard with the coding editor side by side. In this editor pane, we do not have enough space, so that by clicking this, the bottom, I can hide so-called document outline, so that I have wider and upper. There's 2 blocks of icon, second block, and in the middle there's 2 circles overlaid. It is called show the assistant editor. What it does is that if you click this, then it gives you another coding list. This is the editor that is related to this storyboard, which is nothing but the controller, view controller. Okay, in this view controller, we need to do some coding. Coding should be done here, but rather than coding directly, if you could do, if you can tell this editors saying that, hey, I have a web view included on my screen, so that you can now do the coding based upon my layout here. You can tell this guy. That's the way that we practiced last week. We have a button, labels, and text field. We have to do some coding for each graphical components. So what we did last time is that for each, let this editor know automatically, right? Same thing in this case. How can you do it? You can simply holding down Control and drag and drop here. Remember that there's arrows. These arrows go anywhere, right? But I made some room here. If you didn't make, that's fine. You can make it anytime. And you need to find out positions, line positions where you want to drop. There is a point that you can release your buttons. Okay. Right now, what I want to do is I'm going to use the connection, the layout connection for this, which means there is another connection, not just the layout, but action connections. But in this case, it is not. Right? There is no. But if you have a button, but then there is action connections available. But in this case, anyway, there is only outlet. That is okay. One thing that you need to do for this is a name. This is a name. This is a variable name. This is the variable name that you can play with in your coding. Whatever the name that you name here refers to the graphical components here. Because this graphical components that we chose is the entire, that is entire covered, which is called the web view. So we click anywhere here by holding down Control and drag and drop here. So entire here, which is web view, is labeled, is called in this name, by this name. So we can call it, my tip was here, if it is a web view, you take initial WB, so that anytime you know, oh, this variable is the variable for some of the web view. If it is from label, then you can say you can name it starting from LB. Then, oh, this is variable names for one of the label. If it is a button, then the variable name starts with BTN, for example. Oh, therefore, oh, this is a button label, a button variable name. Or text field, then TF. Therefore, oh, this is a text field variable name. But anyway, in this case, WV, so, oh, web view. And then now you can name it. So this is a web view to web, for example. Or web view to my web.
But the name of this variable, is it like indexing the actual file? Is it like the index file or the actual source file for this web view specifically?
I'm not sure why you are saying index.
I'm
if you know in detail, systematically inside, there may be indexing that way. But in this coding level, you can simply think there is a variable name. So it names it. There is a reference, for example, simply.
Yeah.
There is a name referencing to that particular graphical components.
So the index file is like a reference file.
Yeah, you could say, yeah, indexing, or I would say more referencing.
So when you open Xcode, you refer to this variable and it opens up this.
Yeah. So when I click this to connect, then from this code, whenever I say WV to my web, it means this. It means this. So this guy is now known by my coding. Whenever I want to refer to this web view graphical components, then I need to say this variable. I'm going to close this by clicking X on the upper right corner of that coding list. And then I'm going to come back here to click that particular, the same coding list, which is called view controller.swift. I want to click this. This is exactly the same code that I just played with, right? See here, WV to my web. This is a variable. And this is the type of that variable. So variable, colon, and type. You could say a class in object-oriented fashion. Type is nothing but class in object orientation. So this is a variable. What kind of variable is it? Then we can say, oh, this is in this type. What is that type? UI web view. UI stands for user interface. So simply, oh, there is something about the graphical components. And then it starts with @ and IB outlet. IB stands for interface builder.
Oh, IB.
Yeah, interface builder, a builder. Outlet, there's an interface. Interface builder has two kinds, outlet or action. If you initially create button and if you let your coding list to identify that button, just like we did control and holding down control and drag and drop of that button, then it appears here IB action. But in this case, that, okay? What I want to see here, okay, that's good. If you see here, there's two functions already built. The first function is view did load, vdid load, which means there's this particular document ID is loaded. When that document is loaded, if you want to do something, then you need to implement within this function body, within this function. This is the function that we want to work on. When this application is launched, then this is the place that you want to play with. Your web view needs to include some web pages without having any triggers, anything but initially, if you want to display that web page, then this is the place that you need to build. The statement that you need to do is you need to simply set up a variable. You can say let or variable. Let, if you start with the let, it means that's a constant. If you start with the var, then means there is a variable. So let's try with the var. So variable, and my variable, I would say a URL. A URL variable can hold some of the values that is given by a function. Function is called the NS URL. That is a function. And then open a parenthesis. And one of here is one of those parentheses. You can choose one of those, but the one that we want to choose for this function URL NS URL is string colon string. So click that string colon string. And string is that you can simply here type specific string, say http colon slash slash www.apple.com. And this Swift language does not need any symbols to indicate end and to indicate the end of that statement, like Java. You simply leave it there. In this way, this variable AURL is nothing but this guy understands, oh, that is the value, that is a string, HTTP, whatever that URL. This is not just a string, but URL. That's what it means, URL. This URL function starts with NS. NS is just namespace. In theory, you do not need to NS, but in this particular Swift and Apple the products, because it is invented by Steve Jobs. When Steve Jobs first fired from Apple and created his own company. Company name is in late 1980s. What is the name of the company that he created after he was fired from first of his company called Apple? The company that he invented after he was fired was Next, Next. Next was I still remember. Next was very very popular. The company that produces um, affordable Linux operating systems. At that time, students cannot buy Linux operating systems, Linux computer. Students can buy Microsoft, IBM personal computers, or Macintosh at that time. Macintosh is a little expensive, like $2,000. IBM or yeah, we call that IBM at that time. IBM personal computer is about $1,000. Linux and Unix operating system box, cheapest one is $10,000. So students cannot buy it. I don't see any students purchase the Unix operating system. Next was the first, the cheapest Unix. Now it is a Linux operating system box. It's called the Next. Price was about $3,000. Still very expensive, right? But if you buy it, the cheapest regular Unix operating systems, $10,000. It's a lot cheap. So after that, so many students purchased, and they need to build those, like Unix operating systems. Those who purchase such systems now get familiar with all the Linux operating systems, and they build robust applications since that time. What happens? Ah, okay. Sleep mode. Why automatic sleep mode? Okay. So Steve Jobs saved students a lot, and he contributed the computer science students at that time by providing cheapest but still robust Unix operating systems. It's called the next step. So he still kept that name, NS for next step. Even after Steve Jobs passed away, we cannot remove NS from this namespace. I'm not sure how long it will last, but still we have NS. So we have NS URL. Many cases, if you do not have NS, then it means something else. Maybe confused with the other namespaces. But as far as you start with the NS something, then clearly it says that is the Steve Jobs products. That is particularly the next step namespace. Another function that you need to set is, right now we didn't do anything, but we declare the variable. Variable holds a particular URL, right? But if you say self.webview, wait a minute, self.wv, the one that we created, self.that variable referencing to that web view graphical components, and then you can say delegates and equal self culminations. Okay. What happens here is that a URL is the variable that holds this URL, and we need to let this graphical components to run the function called load request. This function load request to receive particular URL, but that URL can be given by URL request function. That URL request function has a specific namespace is called next step. Okay, so if we click to launch that, so that we have Apple web page on our right. So if you exit this emulator to choose some other web page, not all web pages can be displayed. For example, if you do www.merch.edu and run it, you don't see it. I think because of the specific web servers, you don't see it. Some you can see, some you cannot. But Apple definitely, because that is their products. Another thing that we want to do is, can we do a specific the coding, the HTML coding?
Yes, I would think so.
Right. So we can comment this out. And then we can code it. For example, what I want to do is we can starting with that variable w v to my web, which is the reference to that particular graphical components, and then you can do load HTML strings. I'm going to choose this, and then base URL. You don't need to say, but simply nil. But that particular string here you need to code, starting with HTML and then body, and then you can say hello Mercy, and then close that body and close that HTML, and then request for display is not simply the URL, right? It's not simply URL, but it is it should say URL request. Yeah, I don't think you need to this. Simply you can say this, right? Let's try. So that you can see hello world here. Let me clarify a little for the if we want to do break PL, if we want to make it a little bigger than H1, then you can see it more clearly, right? Hello Mercy, that you can see from this coding. This is too small to you, but what happens here is that I commented out the other two statements that I used for URL, but one statement, that reference, graphical reference, our variable dot load HTML string. In this case, load HTML string. Previously, we had load request, and then we put URL, right? So as a string, you can put HTML codes. Those who have HTML codes, you need to now familiar with what it means, right? It's HTML and it has a body of HTML, and BL here it stands for break line, and then H1 means header line in the biggest size. There are six sizes of headlines from H1 to H6. If we simply use HTML language, if you use a CSS language, then you can make it a lot more and better. And then this is a text. You simply say hello Mercy, and then another body, but this is a closed body because you opened here body and you close it, and then finally you close HTML, and therefore you can see this, right? Another thing that you could expand here, rather than having this, this, I can comment this out. You can create HTML files. You can create HTML files that I simply did last. Give you a demo, so that you can create your own web pages on your iPhone. Then you need to create a file. How? There are many ways that you can create. On this navigation pane, lower left corner, there is a plus sign. If you bring your mouse on top of that plus sign, then you can see what is it called? Annotation, right? It's called the add new file. You can click this, either click this, or on top global menu, there is right after Xcode, there is a file. Click on that. There's a new, and then there's a file. Either this or lower left corner. Either way. Click on that, then you can see some of the file types. Of course, in this case, you want to do the empty files, right? If you want to do some other cases, for example, source and Swift files, you need to do this. You will do that next time. Or in this case, simply other, and then there is a empty file, and next. And then you need to file that name. So you can say welcome page.html. You need to have an extension .html, and then click some others you do not need to, right, and create button. You will see that HTML file is in that together with other for example storyboard and view controller.swift. They are together with others, right? So simply here you can type HTML code, body, as we did. I want to make a break the first line because unless otherwise it stick to the top. And you can do H1 and then hello Mercy cybersecurity. Forgive me if there is a typo. And then you can do maybe table, UL, unordered list. Let's do that. Unordered list, and then li for item, line item. You can say it's a to-do list. And then first line item is finish IASP 555, and the next line item and safe back home, and then the next item is get some food, and then next line item is watch TV news to catch up. What happens in South Korea, North Korea. And then finally close that unordered list, UL. And then if you don't do anything, then close the body, and then close HTML. Right. And it is automatically saved. One thing that you didn't do is that in your Swift, view controller.swift, this guy does not know that HTML files, right? So that's what we need to do.
Tell Swift, go inside of Swift.
Right. So there's a coding list that we need to follow. What is that is here, a little bit longer, long list. What you need to do is that go back to web view wv2. There's the variable that we uh, defined, and then load request, load request, load request, and then ns url request, ns url request. As I said, rather than typing, if you start typing, then you can see some possible uh, matches. So you need to simply highlight it and click enter. That needs URL, right? So URL and NS URL. That NS URL still needs NS URL open, and then there is a file URL with the path. So file URL with the path, I think simply this file URL path, hit that. Oops. Yeah, that. And then there is a bundle dot main. Wait a minute. Is this okay? I need to make sure that, yeah, NS bundle. It's not just a bundle. That's why it didn't understand. So NS bundle dot, then it understands, and main bundle, that is highlighted, and that main bundle also has a path. So we have to do path for resource. I think that is the first match. Hit enter. That path needs a string. String is that file name. File name is welcome page, and then type of that file is HTML. So simply you can say HTML. And there is problem with the close parenthesis. First, the thing that you need to do is this path is not optional path, but there's an absolute path. Therefore, not just the whatever the value that this function path for request function returns, but you need to make it that is not optional value but confirmed. So exclamation mark, and then close parenthesis which matched with that, and another one. Do we need another one? Right. This shouldn't be closed. should be open. Okay, and one more. Okay, so everything is cleared, and then we can emulate it. So that I have that. This is too big, so I think because I didn't close H1 here, so I'm going to close H1 here and emulate it. Better combination, right? This is the code. Oh, typo. But it's okay.
So inside of Swift, while using HTML, it doesn't matter with ending some of the syntax. Then it's not going to throw an error if you don't put the.
Swift gives you an error. It's conform. This is HTML. This itself is HTML.
No, I didn't see you close off the list items, and it didn't give you an error.
Which one?
Inside your list, to-do list. Under the
Oh, here. Because this is HTML.
Yeah, under the unordered list, under the HTML coding, it didn't close it off inside the Swift, and it didn't throw an error.
Oh, which ones? Swift is a type strong language. So if you do not have close parentheses, then it gives you an error. It cannot run. See here, there is a errors. Swift code itself should be compiled completely. But this is HTML. HTML is a script language. And with that, if you want to do, for example, within this HTML, if you want to put photo, for example, that is possible. How can you do it?
Image source.
You can download some other websites, Google, no, not Google. You can do images.google.com, and you can do New York. If I want to include some of the JPEG files, let's see if I want to use this JPEG. Is this JPEG? Oops. No good. Okay, here. If I want to download this, save image to download. So it is down. Hopefully it is downloaded. And when I come back to Finder and download, oh, it is not downloaded. It's not downloaded. Save image to download. Something else. Save image to download. It's not downloaded. What happens? Cannot be downloaded. Something else. Saved. Oh yeah, here I have so many terms. Yeah, JPEG, image to, let's say what it is. Okay, good. So I'm going to use this. Okay. I can simply, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to close this. I'm going to simply save it here, drag and drop, and then say finish, so that I have here image dash to JPEG, right? So I can simply include that on my HTML files. You can do table, for example, table row and table data. This is the first table data, TD, and second table data is to image source equals images dash 2 dot jpeg, and then close it and close table row and close table. Hopefully it works. And emulate it. I want to stop the previous emulator and then relaunch new ones. Good.
So you put them all in a table, the UL unordered list. You put them all in the table with the image.
In the table, I have two columns. First column is unordered list. The second column is the image. That's what I did. Yeah. See here, table.
Yeah, it looks like it's contained. It's wrapped around both of those.
Right. In this way. You can do, for example, width equals 50%. I'm not sure if it works, but if it works in this way. Width equals 50%. And close and reopen. Oh, 50% is not working. Then you need to see. Oh, it's typo. Ah, 50% is not working. Simply you can say 50-50. I don't know what it means. 50 pixel points are still not working. With, I'm not sure. Percentage is not working. 50-50. Or image size, we can say width equals 200. I do not know what it means, but let's try. If it resize, then we can play with it. Oh, it resized a little bit. So if we choose it to 150, smaller than that, and close and relaunch. Yeah. Then I'm going to do I'm going to make this 70%. This is 30%. Not sure it works, but no, it's not working.
You know what they do international now? You walk along the street, there's a camera which captures your face.
Man, that's
It
crazy.
does milliseconds, within a second, it goes to your Facebook, it scans the pictures from Facebook, finds you.
Okay.
You want, and advertises.
So this is the code if you want to practice at home. Pretty much of this we practiced already, right? And this is the view controller Swift that we did finally. See some coding here. And then next project that we are going to work on here is a map kit. With this, this is one of the screen, your applications, so that we can see, for example, some mount bonon and some other bonons. This is a mount bonon. I think this is a mount bonon somewhere in Yonkers. Real Mount Vernon here is George Washington's Mount Vernon's. So you can point to that place. And then here's just something that I give some comments. Here, the first president, George Washington's vast estates, some here. So how can you make it? By default, a map kit is not provided, so you need to include that map kit. How can you include it? You need to select a build phase, and then there is a link binary with the library, and there's a plus sign, and then find out map-kit framework. With this, then you can have map-kit somewhere in your projects. So map-kit needs to be known by your assistant editor pane by drag and drop so that you can see the arrows. Okay, so map-kit, the view itself recognized by your view controller. So in your view controller, you need to have some of these stuffs, which is here. This is the entire code that I made for you to follow. So the first thing here is that you need to import map-kit. Map-kit is not by default given, so you have to include that map-kit components in your Xcode, and then you can import it in your controller, view controller. Within this view controller, and then we work on this function. By the way, before we implemented this, the body of this function, this controller recognize and name the variable of that MK map view. Okay, map kit map view. We name that. This is our variable mtvn Mount Vernon map view. This we name it. And then from the second line of this view did load function, we code it. First thing that we did was here's a latitude and longitude that we found out. Where can you find it? I'll let you know a little later. And then latitude delta and longitude delta. How much what is the granule that you can display, and then coordinate, uh, spanning and Mount Vernon location. In this location, see here, you have latitude and longitude, the geocode. Latitude is nothing but here. Latitude, it has the value 38 point some floating points number. Latitude is divided vertically, the globe, both globes, from Greenwich in UK, 180 from east and to west, so altogether 380. And then latitude, there's a longitude, right? Latitude is from the equinox to the North Pole and South Pole. So it has a plus sign and minus sign. There's multiple different ways of representation, not simply by floating points, but you can put it there like a minute and second, MS notation, right? And then coordinate region needs to be specified, and altogether region and yeah, somewhere here is title, George Washington's Mount Vernon. This is something that you could say. If you do not want to, you don't need to. And then coordinates refers to a Mount Vernon location, which is here, Mount Vernon location. That is a coordinates function. Then subtitle, you make some annotation. And then finally, self Mount Vernon map view, which is graphical components, the reference. Dot add notation, so we can put that add here, that notation. And then coordinates here. So those two major components are activated. All others up here, they're all the the declaration of variables with some values. That's what we had. So simply, this map kit has coordinates and then notation. Then it can display. Although it looks like so long line of codes, but all others are just a declaration. I think this is it. The other one is the image ones. So we need to practice this. Okay. Let me give you. Let me close this first, and we'll give you a demo. Click on application and Xcode beta. And if I have another project, Mount Vernon multi-views. Okay, here map to Washington, and I'm going to open it. Okay. So click to launch. By the way, have you been in George Washington's Mount Vernon plantation? So it's in Virginia. If you click this, this is annotations so that you can see
Is that your iPhone? Up to you?
simulator.
Okay.
Yeah. The code list for that is here, right? A lot of warnings. Don't worry about those warnings. There's no errors, right? Warning because it is not really referred, and some variables was never mutated. If it is not being mutated, this Swift guy says, oh, let's put it in a constant rather than variable. Constants start with let, something like this. Okay, then that warning disappear. As far as you have VAR, then warning comes up here. There is a warning. Okay, so those are all the variable declaration. Therefore, you have that. And okay, first thing that that you need to do here is to include map kit. If you click the project itself, on top there's a general about your project and capabilities and so on and so forth, where there is a build settings and build phase. So click that build phase. Initially, there are 4 of those, but I want to click link binary with the library. Then already clicked mapkit.framework. Initially, it is not there. So what you need to do is that, if suppose you do not have this, then you click plus sign, and you can see a lot of other frameworks and libraries to be included in your projects. So you can do, for example, type map, then basically there is only one, right? You can spell out all or simply map or MA. There are more than one, right? So you click MapKit framework, then it is included. I'm going to cancel this. So it is already included here. Once it is included, then you can see MapKit framework. If you click headers, look at this. They're all the C programs, all the header files. Those who have some C experience, then you can see this. If you click one of these, then that is C programs, the header files. If you do not use this, then you have to program all of this. But right now, it is handy. Everything is ready. You simply click to include it. So you do not have to do, but simply use it. So mapkit.framework is already provided. So in your controller, you simply import it and then use the delegates of that map map view kits. If you have these delegates, therefore you have here delegates. This is some delegations. Self, some, and also here. So you can simply use it. All others simply variables. Storyboard, as we did before, if you click here and map view, map kit view, or map view, image view and map view, map kit view here. So we drag and drop here. That's what I did. So map view. For this particular map view, I didn't make any constraints, but still cover entire. So that is okay. With this, we need to bring up assistant, editor on the right, so that I have this editor, right? This is the same as this control here, right? So initially, I can connect and hook the graphical components into this Swift coding list, and then from these points, I use this variable. You could see that variable here, right? And then somewhere. You want to practice or? It is on your blackboard. Any comments? Any? This is very similar to web view. Web view, we can play a little more. Map kit view, map view. I think we could do more. For example, if you want to make some driving routes and that, all sorts of things can be done here in this map view. So you can find out further.
So it's only from the view controller that you put in the map kit variables, right? But what about the HTML part of the page? Can we also integrate it inside of that side of it?
No, that's a different components. Yeah.
You could integrate a map inside of the HTML function.
You can, yeah, map can bring some, no, web can bring some map, but map cannot bring web into the map. That's right. Yeah. We cannot mix them.
It goes here though, huh? But in this case, the map kit goes on the view controller page.
Correct. Yeah, everything is in view controller. Yeah, all the logics that you need to handle should be on the controller. One controller per view, one view. For example, this storyboard, one view. Let me give you some idea. So the controller is a logic. So you can do, for example, temp. So my project is temp, and then I create it here. Anyway, we can delete it, and then I can bring up a storyboard, and initially make it slim so that I have that, and little narrow like this. And then I have a navigation controller, for example. If I bring it here, navigation controller. So what happens here is that this navigation controller is on top. No, not right than this. But that's okay, as an example. Then we have here root view controller. I think it should be the other way, like this. We might have a multiple of those, right? And root, if you want to do, for example, not this. Let's see. Okay. Show toolbar so that we have more toolbars here. So tab bar, button. So bar button items, so that you can bring bar button item here. Can I click? Is it clicked? It's not controlled. Okay, it is clicked. Therefore, system items, if you want to do, for example, some actions, so that you've seen these icons, right? If you have some images here, so that you want to mail it to yourself, or some other items here, you have that here. Okay, that's fine. You want to make, for example, trash can. Then there is a trash can. If we want to make here somewhere, oops, why is not, that's fine. We'll work on that. And if we want to do camera, for example, then camera appears here. Of course, all of this is not really, there's no action. So if we want to implement a little further, then you need to bring the controller, okay? And then you need to, for example, oh, I want to make this into somewhere here, some of the action. So trash also the same thing, right? Whatever you make this, then you need to let the controller know about the existence of that graphical components. Accordingly, you can assign some actions. So when that, for example, if this camera is clicked, then what you need to do? You need to activate the camera on and provide all the functions so that your device can shoot, right?
In order to make the controller aware of those
items
you drag it.
In order to do that, simple way is that you need to click here upper right, the second block from the left, upper left, and then there is a on center there is a two circles overlaid. If you click this, then there is assistant editor comes in. So you have layout, which is storyboard and coding side by side, so that you can drag and drop some here. So automatically it understands, oh, this is it. Like this, I'm not sure if it has, there's no action, but if there's some actions available, then you can click action and then name it, which is a reference, a variable that uh, should be used in your entire coding. That is a simple idea that you can implement iPhone apps design. So everything is based on graphical components, some icons, and the user simply click on it. There's a user event, right? That event should be listened by your controller components, your coding list, and then some actions needs to be taken accordingly. So all steps are very, very simplified here. They are simply drag and drop, and if it is an action, then that is a function. If that is simply layout, then there is simply variable. Those variables needs to be used in one of the functions here, but not in this case, right? One of the functions here. These are the functions. This is a function. This is a function. You can call additional function if you simply create more function. If you create function, then you can simply type func and then my function and open and close parentheses and then that. And then you can simply print hello. And this function needs to be called from the beginning of this application launching points. Then you need to say here, this is view did load. When this view is loaded, first thing is to be done whatever the actions specified in the body of this function in that order. So you can say, oh, my function simply, then this function is activated when this app is first launched. Okay, that's whole picture. These things, this kind of same features can be done in Android, but Android mechanism is a lot more complicated. A lot more things to do manually. But iPhone, so many things are already cooked. You simply drag and drop and a little bit of coding. All the variable declarations and things like that. For example, map kit looks like a long line of code, but as I said, almost all the codes are just declaration. And then simply a couple of functions taken using those declarations. Okay, time's up.
One last question. I understand what Xcode is, right?
So Xcode is the editor together with the compiler, Swift compiler.
It's making it easier for us programmers then, in a sense. To me, it incorporates a lot of different program language interface as well as the plugins without having to go through the long process of going through those codes. and we only have to worry about the HTML part of it as well as some.
Well, HTML, believe it or not, HTML simply I give you today,
Yeah.
but not anymore.
So it's a lot of dragging and dropping there.
A lot of coding. I mean, yeah, drag and drop and coding.
Yeah.
The HTML is simply I give you some motivations. Then your iPhone app itself can be your web server, for example. So if you sell this your app with the web view, if you give this to someone else, then every time when it open it, can see your website, right? That is the thing that we practiced a few minutes ago.
How does the API play into Xcode? Where does it fit in to the Xcode API?
Xcode is there's no Xcode. Xcode is not the language itself. Xcode is the
ID. It's a program, right? Yes, like a program that has a framework of lots of different programs.
It's an editor. Yeah, editor that can gives you all the libraries that may be needed for you to implement iPhone apps or iPad apps or Apple TV, Apple Watches.
So it sounds
so
like
4 kinds.
It sounds like API is already built into the
right. APIs are provided and available in as far as you have Xcode. So only thing that you need to download is Xcode. Nothing but Xcode. Then you have
stuff is getting too easy, Professor.
Yeah, this is a lot easier than you expect. But if you do similar things in for Android, then a lot more complicated. Okay, have a good night.
You too, Professor.
Okay.